between them. 57th all-time meeting. Penn State's won the last 3, including 2 last season. Just 3 wins in 26 all-time visits, though, to Ann Arbor. The Wolverines controlling the tip here. It's Tre Donaldson and Mari Burnett. Around the screen from Golden, this is Danny Wolf. Donaldson penetrates over Conan Niederhauser and gets it to go.
Nice job by Donaldson of coming under control, and that's a very difficult shot. We've talked about the size of Michigan, and rightfully so, but Niederhauser leads the conference in blocks per game.
Nick Kern. Inside, Conan Niederhauser. Pivoting over Golden, can't get it to go. And Wolf, the rebound, second in the Big Ten in that category, gets the first one in this game. It's away by Kern. It'll stay with the Wolverines.
Penn State caught a little bit of a break there defensively, Dave, because on that roll, Golden was open, but Donaldson missed him. He had a complete mismatch on that roll.
The leading scorer in conference play in the Big Ten. Here's Gale on the move. It's erased. And Dillion the other way for Penn State. Kern on the drive. Knocked away there by Burnett, and it went off of Hicks. Has over 400 career wins. Got 9 wins a season ago with a roster that he cobbled together in the 11th hour. Here's Golden.
There's the double. Well-designed and timed double by Penn State.
It was interesting talking to Mike Rhodes today. He said, we are not going to err on the side of caution. So we're going to send everything. Danny Wolf, that is a great sign for Michigan. Just one of his last 14 coming in, but he hits a 3 there. There's Baldwin. And Wolf on him. Chooses not to drive him back out to Dillion. Dillion on the move. Erased by Wolf.
Maybe that'll give Wolf a little bit of confidence.
Shot clock at 5. And Dillion is fouled from behind.
And a smart play by Dillion. Once he caught the ball on the curl, you saw him get down low with that dribble. That allowed him to get the hip into the trailing defender, who didn't have anything choice but to give the foul as a result.
Ball on Will Cheddar, his first. And so Dillion goes to the line. Transfer from Tennessee. It's Penn State on the board. Redshirted as a freshman there, played sparingly last year. He's battling a foot injury. But went against the Kai Ziegler every day in practice and said he learned an awful lot. The games, the times he got in, said it was a lot easier than the practice going up against him.
They Cheddar into the lineup quickly. We were at the shoot around, and Golden was kind of limited in what he was able to do, so Cheddar getting some earlier minutes here.
Yeah, Michigan people telling me he's battling a little bit of a cold here today. Cheddar left that one short, and the rebound to Dillion.
And he didn't block that shot by Niederhauser. He certainly adjusted the shot by Cheddar.
Now knocked away, and it's going to be a foul on the Wolverines. It's going to go against Roddy Gale, the transfer from Ohio State. As we take a look at the first-year coach at Michigan, Dusty May, of course, made the Final Four a couple years ago with FAU. His second head coaching stop, a graduate of Indiana, a former student assistant while he was there, manager for Bob Knight. That's a 3-ball from Baldwin that goes.
Really well done by Niederhauser on the offensive rebound. He didn't panic and try to go into the shot blocker. He took his time and found Baldwin on the wing. Well done by the big.
Here's Burnett, great outside shooter. That one doesn't go. Wolf keeps it alive though. Out down low, Gale lays it in.
And that was an area of concern for Penn State coming in, was rebounding the ball. This is a team in Michigan that's +7 in rebounding margin on the year.
Conan Niederhauser strong to the hoop, and he will go to the line. Fouled there by Danny Wolf.
Niederhauser has been impressive here in the first half for the Nittany Lions, but this basket by Gale comes as a result of an offensive rebound, which is something that if you're the Nittany Lions, you have to make sure you expand your margin for error by not allowing second chance opportunities, because relatively speaking, that is not your strength. Forcing turnovers is, and you want to make sure on the defensive end you have the opportunity to do that.
And Penn State in the bottom 2 in the Big Ten in both offensive and defensive rebound percentage. As Conan Niederhauser hits the first free throw, transfer from Northern Illinois. It's interesting to talk to Mike Rhodes about his recruitment today. He said one thing that Conan Niederhauser said that really stood out to him was that he wanted to have fun.
Well, when you're playing as well as he is, it makes it a lot easier to have fun. I think he is going to be a really good player in this league. He's already shown it, especially on the defensive end.
Here's Gale, now Wolf.
Good job by Kern moving his feet on Wolf there.
And Donaldson lost it there. It will stay with the Wolverines as it was knocked away there by Ace Baldwin.
And we talked about the importance of all ball handlers, but Donaldson in particular. You have to be strong, 2 hands on the basketball, because you can see the active hands at work by the Nittany Lions.
Shot clock under 10. Cheddar will try a 3 and hit.
Dribble drive by Donaldson, draws 2, then you look behind, the Cheddar filling in on that wing. Well done by Donaldson.
Hicks, now Dillion lost it, and Burnett the other way for Michigan. Here's Gale, straight in on Kern. Good strong take by Roddy Gale.
Man, that did have a lot of strength, because that's his offhand, and his momentum was taking him to the right.
Conan Niederhauser ill-advised there. 3rd turnover for Penn State.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Great organization, and privileged to work with them. Natalie Morrison does an amazing job. And we are proud to partner with them here at the Big Ten Network. Roddy Gale. That shot maybe altered a bit by Conan Niederhauser, and it's going to be Penn State ball. Michigan was shooting the ball so well early on here, Sean. They got a little bit cold. What's happened?
Much better movement in terms of keeping the ball handlers in front from the Penn State standpoint, and then they've been able to clean up on the boards. That was an area of concern for them coming in. So Michigan at the beginning was able to get some second chance opportunities and keeping plays alive, but that has not been the case here recently. And Michigan showing a little bit of a zone look here to the Nittany Lions.
It's actually Penn State which has owned the second chance points, 10-2 in this game. This zone seems to have confounded Penn State early in the possession, but they figured it out in the nick of time, and Zach Hicks gets 2.
Hicks went exactly where you're taught to go against a 2-line zone defense, right in the heart of it. At that foul line extended, he turned around and didn't put the ball on the floor and allow the defense to recover.
Danny Wolf back in there for Michigan, playing with 2 fouls. And a blocking foul is called. That was a big call there, and it goes Michigan's way.
They're going to give it an and one. It's just so versatile, and
not sure how that's in the act of shooting.
That's well, and this could be in the time machine. This could be 1970s NBA with the continuation.
Michigan fans will gladly take it, and Wolf will try to convert on the 3-point play, and he does not. Michigan back in that zone shot.
Yeah, and if you're Hicks, you don't want to set up shop there. You want to come from behind the defense. That's exactly what DeLeon did there.
Marco Dunn hits the 3.
Well done by DeLeon. One of making himself available and getting into the corner, and on that dribble drive, came right in there. It's going to go the other way.
Yeah, that was blocked off of Wolf, who was out of bounds. Dunn's basket here gave Penn State its first lead shot.
Nicely done by DeLeon, making himself available at the beginning of this play. Then you draw the defense, you look weak side, and put it right in the shooting pocket. They're out of that zone now.
There's DeLeon. Now Penn State scored on both possessions where Michigan was in the zone. Dunn on the drive, and he turned it over. 7th turnover already for Penn State. Team that averages fewer than 12 per game. Consternation there from Mike Rose. Here's Burnett, the 3-ball. Raises the rim, and Baldwin the other way.
Yeah, that's an offensive foul on Niederhauser, and that's the right call.
You see the second foul on Conan Niederhauser, so he will take a seat. Wolf is out there with 2 for Michigan.
Now for Michigan, now you can attack the rim with a little bit more willingness without the shot blocker inside.
Wolf backing his way in, and he'll go back to the stripe. It's on DeMarco Dunn. That is his first.
Really close to potentially a hook there by Wolf.
Wolf back to the line. I mentioned he had really struggled coming into this one. He's hit both of his field goal attempts. Been a little errant from the free throw line. And a great story, as people probably know. He's 2 years removed from averaging 7 points off the bench for Yale. He had a huge summer for the Israeli national team that summer, and then he blew up last year. His coach at Yale, James Jones, called it weirdly unbelievable. And now he is seen as an NBA first-round candidate, which is, it's pretty amazing.
His ability to handle the ball. Now sometimes he, and this is something they're working with him on, Dave, he can be a little loose with the basketball, but he has the ability to make all the passes. He can take it off the board and go all the way himself. He's a more than capable perimeter shooter, a willing passer, and his body has started to catch up with his skill set. He's able to battle down low now as well.
His skills are remarkable. You mentioned the turnovers, and that's a problem. He has more turnovers than any player in the Big Ten. But man, he can do some things with the basketball that 7-footers generally can't do. Dillion, shot clock at 5. Penn State's got to go. Dillion with the shot clock at 2. Golden comes out to meet him. Dillion does well to get it up on the glass. Enza the rebound, and he is fouled. Great effort there from the Nittany Lions. And Cheddar got him with his second foul.
I've been impressed. Now, Enza did blow a layup opportunity when he first checked into the ball game earlier this half. But Dave, I've been impressed with what he's given Penn State. We showed his ability to execute the help and recover defensively, and here he grabs the rebound with strong 2 hands in traffic, doesn't panic, looks to kick it out, draws a foul as a result. Oh man, that is just a gift.
Donaldson trying to take advantage. He cannot. Enza, it's a rebound and then a foul on Michigan. That was like an outlet pass to Donaldson.
That may have been the easiest potential layup that anyone was going to have. But Penn State, to their credit, they didn't hang their head and they sprint back. And Enza, if he doesn't continue to sprint and protect the rim, there's no way he's drawing that. He did not start jogging. He kept sprinting toward the rim and gets his team an extra possession.
The foul, by the way, was on Will Cheddarshaw. That's number 3 on him. You see Golden back in the game, but a bit limited. Near turnover there for Penn State.
Made even more apparent by the fact that Wolf already has 2. So a little bit of foul trouble here for the Michigan front line.
Burns' floater is short. Golden the rebound, just the 7th rebound for Michigan. Penn State's got 16 in this game. They've done a really nice job on the offensive glass. Near turnover there from the Wolverines, deflected by Baldwin.
Kind of get the feeling that he may be a little under the weather, as they alluded to, because he was out far earlier in that first part of this first half than you would usually become accustomed to seeing. And I think his conditioning right now, his wind is just quite not there. He's moving about a half step slow.
LJ Kaysen, number 2 in, a freshman from the state of Florida. There's Donaldson with 6 to shoot. Jones got to get one up, and he hits a 3. Michigan had missed its last 6 threes before that one shot.
That one was kind of a bailout because Penn State had done a pretty good job, Dave, of isolating them on this near side of the floor. But Jones bails them out.
Dillion on the screen from Inzep. Baldwin will try a three. Inzep battling for the rebound. Man, has Penn State been good on the offensive glass. Just to put a point on that, I mean, 6 offensive rebounds for Penn State. Michigan has 6 defensive rebounds. So it's a 50-50 proposition when it goes up on the glass. Now a turnover. Here comes Kern the other way. 6th turnover for Michigan, and Kern makes him pay.
And it wasn't a clean steal, but you hear coaches all the time, Dave, talk about deflections. That shows you why they emphasize that. That pass was deflected, allowing someone else to come in there, and then you have a breakout opportunity.
Here's Golden. Looked healthy there.
The rim, not as much after that.
Michigan back up by 3. Kern working on the freshman case and went strong into him, and a blocking foul is called. Kern, a transfer from VCU. Of course, came over with Mike Rhodes. 8 points now for Kern, as we remind you to stay tuned for the halftime show. Rick Pizzo, Rayfeld Davis get you caught up on everything going on around the conference. It's 1 of 2, and Golden the rebound.
Penn State showing a little bit of a zone look here as well, and taking Michigan a while to kind of recover, but
I'd say they did.
Recover they did.
They figured it out. I want to put that one on the shelf. There's Baldwin. Nifty reverse layup by Zach Hicks.
Very difficult conversion, but how about the pass? I mean, that had to get threaded through there very, very quickly.
It doesn't go for Gale. Golden the rebound, but he missed from point-blank range. And now Penn State with a chance for a 2-for-1. Here's Kern. Penn State, along with DeMarco Dunn, hits the free throw. Kern, a senior from St. Louis, kind of a rough part of the city. Wanted to get away from his neighborhood, and you know, Mike Rhodes said a guy who really stars in his role, and that role last year was kind of energy and defense. This year it's been offense to him, and a double-figure score. He's got 10 in this game. It's the 17th time in 21 games he's been in double figures. That's a team high.
Throw weak side and get the ball out of his hands down there around the block.
Michigan shot it well in this game, 50% after their 2 lowest field goal percentage games of the year consecutively against Northwestern and Purdue. 12 to shoot. It is in the hands of Golden. Double team comes, turn around the baseline. Tough shot. Well defended by the Nittany Lions. And which way will it go? I did not necessarily agree with the call. Penn State will get a chance to take the lead going into the locker room. Here's Baldwin. Hicks. Tough contested shot that's off the mark.
The Nittany Lions plus 11 rebounding so far in this ball game.
Penn State done a particularly good job on the offensive glass. See where we go here in the second half. Conan Niederhauser had some foul issues in that first half at Minachon, and definitely seems like his illness has plagued him a little bit here just in terms of energy. And Conan Niederhauser blows right by him there and gets 2.
That was a great example to pay off your point there, Dave. He was more than a half a step slow, and as he jogs down the floor, you can see he's laboring with his breathing just a hair.
Donaldson, nice feed to Burnett.
And really well-designed set, because you pulled the 2 bigs, Wolf and Golden, away from the rim. That frees up everything going toward the basket. Nice job of countering in terms of offensive sequence there by Michigan.
4th assist for Donaldson. We showed him on those auto owners game leaders, 3 steals as well. Really had a well-rounded game. Answering though out of the corner is Freddie Dillion. Golden inside Wolf, and he can't get the roll. Niederhauser, that is his 3rd foul, Sean, as Wolf misses the free throw. For all his outside shooting acumen, he's not a great free throw shooter, just 61% on the year. He's 1 of 4 here tonight as you see Conan Niederhauser take the seat.
And you can see the
well off the bar.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a hitch in there.
Missed opportunity there for Michigan as Penn State looks to build on what is its largest lead of the game. Been close throughout. Dillion tried to thread the needle there. Wolf comes out of there for Michigan. They got numbers if they hurry. Here's Donaldson out of the corner for 3, and he drains it. Averages about 4 assists per game. Wolf really just such a unique player with his ball handling and his vision. Baldwin that time threads the needle beautifully. Now out of the corner, Dillion, that doesn't go, and then Inza gets called.
Kind of in the lower back, and the official here on the near side had an obstructed view.
Donaldson looking for his 2nd straight. He left it short. Gets his own rebound, though, and lays it in. And Tre Donaldson now into double figures for the 16th time this year. Here's Kern right in on Golden. Doesn't go. Wolf the rebound for the Wolverines. Wolf trying to back down Hicks. Gets to his turnaround, left that short, and Hicks the rebound.
Good job by Hicks of forcing the bigger player to fade away.
Dillion, Donaldson cuts him off. There's Baldwin with a pull-up. Rims out. Gale battling for the rebound. Wolf comes out of there with it. Donaldson. Wolf. Here's Gale on the baseline, spinning in, drops it for Golden, who lays it in. A 7-0 run for the Wolverines. Hicks had it altered by Golden. Donaldson scoops it out for Michigan.
Hicks was expecting contact that didn't arrive.
Now Donaldson, and there Hicks got some contact
In the midst of traffic.
Down for him that time. It's got Michigan back up by 4. Dangerous pass there, but Donaldson, the good catch, kicks it into the corner. 3 ball on the way. That was short from Jones, knocked around, and it'll go to Penn State.
But Enza came over there and presented himself well.
Enza's been pressed into a little more service than you would expect here, just with the
possessions.
Enza's a transfer from Xavier. Started 4 games for the Musketeers last year. There's DeMarco Dunn had a nice first half. Dunn will try a 3. One does not go. Wolf kept it alive, and Donaldson has it for Michigan. Here's Donaldson on the run. Wolf working on Inza. Wolf for 3. Got it. 9 points now for Danny Wolf, and Michigan on a 10-0 run. Donaldson the steal. He's got one-on-one with Baldwin. Leaves it for Gale, and Baldwin. What a great play. Now Kern the other way, and Inza throws down the jam.
Outstanding transition defense by the Nittany Lions, because if the teammate doesn't do his job to slow the path to the rim, Baldwin's not going to be able to come from behind.
Inside Gale, great feed from Donaldson, but he missed the layup. And Baldwin, that's an offensive foul on Inza, setting the screen. Danny Wolf, but it'll be interesting to see how Goodman fares here, Sean. And Penn State has gone to the zone.
Yeah, trying to protect him a little bit. maybe trying to buy some time, maybe to the next media timeout coming up at the under 12 to maybe roll the dice with Niederhauser, bring him back.
There's Wolf. Good job to keep the possession there. Donaldson on the baseline, acrobatic.
And that's where the absence of Niederhauser is most apparent. If Niederhauser is there, it's going to be a far more difficult shot to convert with his shot blocking presence in there for Penn State.
Have the rim protector right now for Penn State. Interesting to see how long Mike Rhodes goes without one of his two bigs on the floor. Baldwin. DeMarco Dunn, 5 to shoot. Kern hanging in the air and got it. Nick Kern, that is a big hoop for Penn State.
And a savvy play by a guy who's been around. He takes one extra dribble. He's going right into the teeth of that defense, and most notably Danny Wolf.
Deep three, Burnett, nothing but net. Namari Burnett had been just 3 of his last 14 threes coming in. He's got 2 here tonight. Lead out to 8. It's the largest it's been. Baldwin trying to answer and does.
With that jab step, he understood that he had the larger player Cheddar out there with the 3 fouls and kind of away from his comfort zone defensively. And Baldwin showing you a lot of grit here this evening, as he has all season, dealing with a back injury.
He has played the last 147 straight minutes for Penn State as Wolf misses. And as you say, he is not fully healthy. He is just an absolute warrior. Kern loses it on his way to the hoop. It's going to stay, though, with Penn State.
Essentially flipping the script from the last time he took the floor at West Lafayette, where he had only 1 assist against 6 miscues.
And this is a tough team in Penn State to avoid turnovers against, as Conan Niederhauser misses from point-blank range there. So it even accentuates what a great job Tre Donaldson has done here running the Michigan offense. See the turnover story at Michigan in general. Again, a team we talk about, they have the most turnovers in the Big Ten as Burnett misses. It's Penn State, which has been turning it over here today. Burnett going to try another one. That one doesn't go. Misses 2 on 1 possession, but Wolf, an offensive rebound, a fresh 20 again for Michigan. So they'll get a 3rd shot at it here in this possession. Donaldson unable to pay it off, and Burnett keeps it alive. How about Jones for 3? 4 shots at it for Michigan, and Reuben Jones ends up getting 3.
And that was an area of concern for Penn State coming in, and they had done a very good job of limiting second chance opportunities, but 4 cracks at it for the Wolverines there.
He's back up to 8. Here's Kern in on Cheddar and lays it in. 14 for Kern. He has had a couple big answers here for Penn State. Nittany Lions back in that zone. Burnett, nice feed to Cheddar, lays it in. Well played by Michigan.
Get right in the gut of that defense, and then you don't take the lazy dribble. You turn and face the defense. That allowed him to find Cheddar.
Penn State looking for its first true road win of the year. They did beat Drexel in a game that was played in Philly. Jerome Moore's team, unbelievable momentum at the end of the year with the bowl win over Alabama after the rivalry win over Ohio State, as Nick Kern hits for Penn State. He's had a really nice game, shot 16 points.
He has responded on the offensive end whenever they've needed a basket, and a good job of getting him isolated off that dead ball situation.
Wolf. Jones turns it over, ill-advised there. Baldwin the other way. He'll try a 3 and hit. Ace Baldwin now with 11, and Penn State back within 3.
And I like that shot, not just because it went in, but he waited. He had offensive rebounding opportunities if there was a miss.
Wolf maybe rushed that one a bit. DeLeon the other way. Penn State's had an answer each time that Michigan has threatened to pull away. Baldwin rims out. That would have tied it up. And Wolf the rebound. Here's Wolf. Right in on Conan Niederhauser. He misses the layup. And now Penn State turns it over nearly, and then they do. He's headed right at us, Sean. I thought you were going to make the play.
I had it. My hands were ready. But boy, that's a tough break for the Nittany Lions. Because a couple possessions ago, Baldwin, watch him locate. And if he misses that, DeLeon was in pretty good rebounding position if it skipped off to the other side. But then they're not able to continue that momentum because kind of an unforced turnover happened right here in front of us, and the Wolverines will get back on offense.
Wolf is just challenging Conan Niederhauser. And not a whole lot he can do with those 4 fouls. So Danny Wolf into double figures now with 11. And the lead back out to 5. DeMarco Dunn on the drive. Cut off there by Jones. Here's DeLeon working on Walters.
He could take Walters here if he chooses to.
Try to get it into Conan Niederhauser, and a foul inside. It goes on Roddy Gale. That is his 3rd.
Well, you mentioned it. This is a good job by Wolf of understanding situations, meaning they isolate that side of the floor, and even though Niederhauser is a shot blocker, you go right into the chest, and he's not able to contest as aggressively because of that foul situation he finds himself in.
Baldwin. Cut off on the baseline. Still 9 to shoot. Dunn. Here's Kern. Driving on Jones. Nick Kern can't get it to go.
Nice back.
Punch back out. Baldwin's got it, and then a foul. Scrambling for the rebound on Michigan. It's going to go against Amari Burnett.
Good job by Niederhauser keeping that alive, Dave, with the back tap and able to tap it back there. And if you are the Penn State Nittany Lions, about the last guy you want to see hit the floor is Ace Baldwin.
Donaldson coming back in here for Michigan. As he documented, Sean had a really good game so far. He will try to slow down Baldwin. Baldwin and Kern have combined for the last 10 Penn State points here. With the veteran leaders coming alive here for Mike Rhodes. DeLeon. There's Conan Niederhauser. Spinning, and he traveled.
He got off balance, Dave. He had the right idea, but he was kind of playing a little bit too straight up, and he thought that there was going to be more contact as well. Gets just a little bit ahead of himself. Shuffled the feet just enough.
15th turnover for Penn State, a team that averages less than 12 per game. Here's Wolf. Gale, nice pass to Walters, who throws down the jam.
Nice job by Gale of turning, facing the rim. And then rather than making the lazy pass, which would have been a straight line pass, he makes the proper pass, which is the bounce pass.
There's Dunn. On the drive, Baldwin into Conan Niederhauser, surrounded by 3 Wolverines, but still gets it to go.
That was a tough catch, Dave, because came in there with a little bit of mustard to snake through all those hands, and then a good job by Niederhauser of catching and recovering.
Wolf spinning. Does it go? Kern the rebound.
Nice job by Niederhauser there defensively, not allowing Wolf to get into the body.
And now another turnover as Nick Kern just got a little out of control there. 16 turnovers. The stars have come out, Sean, presumably to see you.
That would be one constellation of no one would want to witness.
Reuben Jones kind of felt like the sea parted there for him. We know how much Michigan has struggled with that. It was a huge point of emphasis for Dusty May getting ready for this one. And just as I say it, they turned it over.
And this is a team in Penn State.
Yannick Conan Niederhauser to the free throw line, and 1 of 2 from the stripe, and Walters clears the rebound. Gale. Walters, good outside shooter, and he hits.
Yeah, and that's one where the coaching staff of Penn State just kind of dropped their heads, because it's no secret why Sam Walters is in there, Dave. It's to shoot threes, and it's to shoot catch and release threes, and you have to locate him, and then you have to come out with a hand up, and none of those things took place defensively for the Nittany Lions.
11 of 25 behind the arc now for Michigan. Here's Dunn on the drive, and
then if he does shoot a three, it comes off a rhythm dribble rather than catch and release.
Transfer from Alabama. It was interesting talking to Dusty May today. Walters had been struggling a bit with his shot as DeMarco Dunn hits the first free throw. And he had hit a couple in that game against Purdue. And Dusty May was saying to us, that might be the one positive thing that came out of that game, is maybe Walters got a bit more confidence back with his shot. As Dunn now into double figures with 10. Just his 6th double figure outing of the year. Here's Wolf. Tries to go to the reverse, swatted away. And Penn State the other way in the person of Dunn.
Good team defense there by Penn State in terms of rotating and obstructing the path just enough for Wolf that Niederheiser can come in from behind.
5-point lead for Michigan. 6 minutes to go. Hicks for three. Not there, and Wolf the rebound. He's fouled from behind by DeMarco Dunn. Number 2 on Dunn.
You can see it coming into your screen right there. A little bit of nudge, and Wolf draws the foul.
Just the 5th foul on Penn State, so still a couple more until the Wolverines will go to the free throw line. Wolf in on Conan Niederheiser. Can't get it to go. Good defense there. Baldwin the other way.
But Niederheiser's done that a few times in terms of forcing Wolf to shoot over the top, and that's taken some doing when you force Wolf to shoot over the top of anything, because he's 7 feet, but that length of Niederheiser is an impediment back there.
Wolf thought about the three, and Conan Niederheiser picks up his 4th. Going to say Conan Niederheiser's done a pretty good job of staying on the floor with those 3 fouls, but now a bit of a decision for Mike Rhodes. We'll see what he opts to do here.
Going to get inside, I think.
There
it is. Yep.
And so Conan Niederheiser takes a seat here for at least a couple minutes, one would think, and
maybe to the next media timeout, which is coming up at the 4 minute of clock time.
Roddy Gale on the drive, hanging in the air, can't get it to go, but Hicks fouled him, and so Gale will go to the free throw line.
And Michigan doing a really good job of understanding that substitution. Niederheiser not in there to come from the weak side, and Gale just puts his shoulder down to the rim and will shoot a couple.
Roddy Gale, couple free throws. Native of Niagara Falls, New York. Misses that free throw.
Well, the foul line has not been kind to Michigan.
It has not. That is the first non-Danny Wolf free throw. He's 1 of 5. Gale's 0 of 1. So I'll do that math, Sean. They're 1 of 6.
Well done.
Yeah. I want to brag, but and now 2 of 7.
We won't have to
show off a little.
Just
yeah. It's 28%, I think. Here's Hicks. Dillion. Now done. And he got it.
A very impressive, hard-fought home game against Northwestern where they got the win. If they're able to close that thing out against Indiana, you may be looking at a little bit, but it just shows you what this league does, how momentum can swing very, very quickly.
Just just so many good teams in this league, and really no bad ones. Everyone's in the top 100 of the net. A turnover for Michigan. Baldwin the other way. Dunn able to corral it. Pulls it back out to Baldwin. Here's Hicks for three. And the lead.
How about the catch along that baseline by Dunn, and then not panicking, kicking it back out and allowing Hicks to fill in behind.
A 10-1 run for Penn State. Donaldson answers. 67, all even as we wind under 4 minutes. And Golden comes up with a steal. Donaldson left it short, and the rebound to Kern. Plenty of time for Penn State. 12 to shoot. Baldwin swinging in the corner. Hicks now with 6. DeLeon hits the 3.
And DeLeon did a really good job, Dave, when that pass was en route, of utilizing that crow hop to get his feet underneath him, because his momentum was taking him to the left.
Penn State's has been 3, which they are matching at this moment. So what are you watching closest down the stretch here?
We had it on there in that game summary. It's going to be foul shooting, especially with the fact that, you know, the ball's going to be in Wolf's hands a lot, and he has not necessarily been a great foul shooter all year, under 70%, but only 1 of 5 tonight.
Gale missed the jam, and Penn State dodges a bullet. Everything but the finish there for Michigan.
Gale just completely face guarding Baldwin, going to try to make someone else get Penn State into their offense here.
This is Baldwin. Shot clock under 10. Shot clock under 5. DeLeon's got to go. Gets it off. And Penn State the offensive rebound. Baldwin. First offensive rebound of the second half for Penn State. It was a timely one, and now Donaldson picks up his first foul.
Well, last time down the floor offensively, Gale had ill intentions, but they were not fulfilled.
Yeah. Now Baldwin at the free throw line hits the first one. He is virtually automatic. He's 7th in the nation in free throw percentage at 93%, and he gives Penn State its largest lead of the game, 71-67. Got them both. 15 points now for Ace Baldwin. A 15-3 extended run for Mike Rhodes' team.
I'd say about 7 minutes ago or so in terms of clock time, looked like Michigan might be able to kind of put this thing away, but the Nittany Lions, as they've done all year, even in the midst of this kind of swoon, just continues to battle.
There's Cheddar. Now Burnett. Penn State cranking it up defensively, and Dusty May didn't like what he saw, particularly on the defensive end of the court. So it's been a week and a half here for them. This would be a huge win. Donaldson through the lane, leaves it for Gale, and this time he finishes the jam.
How about that dead ball situation?
Pretty good timeout there.
Man, Michigan knew they weren't going anywhere, and Dusty May and his staff responded tremendously.
And now Penn State turns it over.
Doing the right thing, coming under control, not over dribbling, and then Gale times his cut properly.
Here's Burnett from 3 in the tie. Doesn't go. And Cheddar keeps it alive. Fresh 20 for Michigan. Now poked away there. It will stay with Michigan.
And how about Dunn closing out, Dave, and moving his feet?
What a great play, though, by Will Cheddar to poke that one back out. Winding down to the final minute here. Been a good one at the Chrysler Center. Less than 10 to shoot. And now Donaldson loses it out of bounds. It'll stay, though, with the Wolverines.
And you better be strong with the ball against everyone on Penn State, but particularly if Ace Baldwin is out there. Because he may not get the steal, but he may get the deflection, and he's certainly going to make it difficult on you.
Net to inbound. 6 to shoot here for Michigan. Donaldson with the pull-up. That goes. Back to a 1-point game. This crowd coming to its feet.
You know, Kern attacking the rim has paid dividends.
Blocks it away. And now Michigan could retake the lead. Just one timeout left for the Wolverines. Donaldson rattles it home. And Michigan back on top thanks to a 7-0 run. And now Mike Rhodes, is he going to let him play? He is for now. Kern. Baldwin for 3. Rims out. Rebound Donaldson. And Penn State will have to foul. That has been the impetus here. It's been all Michigan since that moment. And now Donaldson, after hitting the first free throw. A 2-possession game. And now Penn State in a load of trouble. Baldwin for 3. Does not go, and Michigan finishes the game on a 9-0 run over the last minute 42 to pull out the win and remain perfect at home.
Yeah, I thought we did a good job. Tre Donaldson made big plays down the stretch. It was a back-and-forth game. Neither team really found a rhythm, but we were both able to score in spurts and runs. You know, just credit our guys. They play with great courage. We're in position to separate and did take advantage, and we're in position to lose, and they made big plays down the stretch.